Good evening, citizens of Portsmouth, invited guests, and all parties, and our city staff. I want to welcome you to our city council meeting. On behalf of my colleagues, I hope that you enjoy our meeting tonight. I would ask at this time if everyone could please stand for a moment of silence following the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To my colleagues, I would ask that you note your presence electronically. We have the...
Wait.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dr. Whitaker.
That's right.
Six members of City Council are present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have the minutes of a call meeting February 13th, 2024, and a regular meeting February 13th, 2024.
Move adoption.
Second.
I would ask my colleagues to vote electronically.
The minutes are adopted 6-0.
We do have a few presentations, so I would ask at this time for Dr. Bracy and his team, as well as the Port Town Magic, please join me up front here. Yes, facing the audience. Yes, facing the audience. Wow, don't you all look amazing?
Yes.
Let's give them a hand. We're gonna let them get in place, so take your time. Well, thank you all again for being here. I have to share with you, if you don't know, Dr. Bracy is our school superintendent. And I wanted to let him know, as well as our school board under the chairmanship of Dr. Cardell Patillo and these wonderful students, how much we appreciate them representing Portsmouth abroad. Let me share this story with you. The Port Town Magic Show Choir is a group of talented students selected from performing arts classes within the Portsmouth Public Schools. They represent both the school division and the city of Portsmouth at a number of local and state events. For example, they were selected to perform at the State Virginia School Boards Association Conference in 2022, as well as the National Urban Superintendents Association of America Conference in 2023, when both events were held in Williamsburg. Just last week, though, the choir was selected from groups across the nation to perform at the Consortium of State School Boards Association, or CASBA, National Conference in Dallas, Texas. The students were a standout of the event, performing for roughly 1,500 school board members who were in attendance. Tonight, we have invited Port Town Magic to be honored at our meeting to express our pride for their great work. And I just want to add, we hear a lot of things that are negative about young people and what they do, but we always want to celebrate our young people for all of the hard work that they put in and the performance in representing the city of Portsmouth. thank you on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of Portsmouth. And Dr. Bracy, would you please come forward, sir? If you want to say something, we certainly would welcome that as well.
Well, thank you. I'll say something brief, and then I'm going to pass this mic to the person that's responsible, Ms. Garen Moody, who's our performance arts coordinator. Well, thank you, Mayor Glover, Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, and members of City Council, and interim city manager, Ms. Terry. We're thankful that you all allowed us to come, and I'm thankful that you all are recognizing these wonderful students. You know, I'm not going to spoil the story that Mrs. Moody will tell, but I will share that sitting in that audience, watching them perform at a national conference, you know, it was like I'm watching all 25 of my kids that was up there performing. I mean, it was a touching moment. And as I looked around at some of our other board members, you know, they were just smiling with being just so proud of what they were witnessing. But I'm proud of these students. They performed well. They behaved themselves at the conference, and we were all staying at the same hotel. So seeing them interact and walking around, I had a chance to have some informal conversations with a lot of them. We're just proud of them. And I'll say that, and then I'm going to pass the mic before I steal everything from Mrs. Moody.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mayor Glover, Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, all of our esteemed council members, Dr. Bracy and Dr. DeVries. Thank you all so much for the opportunity and for sharing this night with our wonderful Porttown Magic Show Choir and Dance Ensemble. I'd just like to give a few accolades and talk to you a little bit about the group. We will get in and out of the way as it is a school night. So we want to get them back. But I would like to share with you that we took 25 of our wonderful high school students with us. We got them there safely and we got them back safely in one piece. So that's a good thing, right? Yes, yes. And we appreciate their hard work. They've been working tirelessly week after week since we found out in mid-December that we were going. So as soon as we got back from our winter break, we hit the ground running, and they have just been phenomenal. I would like to share with you all of the students who attend Churchland High School. Just wave your hand, please. All right. All of the students who attend Manor High School, please raise your hand. Let me step to the side so you can see them. And all of the students who attend IC Norcom High School, please raise your hand. I'm also happy to share that we have several honor students in our ensemble, and all of our seniors in our ensemble are planning to go to institutions of higher learning, and so we are happy about that. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the wonderful team of instructors and administrative team and teachers who have supported this group along the way. I would like you to stand when I call your name. First, we have Miss Sandy Davis, who is one of our instructors for Porttown Magic and middle school band director at Churchland Middle School. We also have our wonderful dance instructor at Churchland High School, Miss Janelle Jones, who works with this group. We also have choral director at IC Norcom High School here with us and who supported us for this trip, Mr. Joe Harmon. We also have Miss Caitlin Kidd. She is one of our Porttown Magic instructors, and she's a middle school chorus teacher. We have Miss Pamela Morris, who is chorus director at Manor High School. And last but not least, we have my predecessor, and she's wonderful. She's been supporting us and continuing to accompany the group, Mrs. Gwen Jenkins, former Senior Supervisor of Performing Arts. And we also had Mr. Jenkins and a gentleman, Mr. David Hunter, who accompanied the group to Dallas and was playing instruments for us as well. So we appreciate them and their hard work. Last but not least, if I can just have one more moment, we have several parents. And without you, we could not do what we do with your students. Thank you for sharing them with us. Parents, if you don't mind standing for us really quickly. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, thank you for this honor. We are very pleased and we are honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Dr. DeVries, Dr. Bracy, Miss Moody, Porttown Magic, you wonderful students. Thank you all for gracing us with your presence. And now I know you guys got to go because you got school tomorrow. Thank you again. Let's give them one more round of applause. job, guys. Good job, man. All right, man. Good job. All right, man. All right. Good. Now, if I could ask Ms. Paulson, is Ms. Paulson with us tonight? Okay. Can I have a representative to please come up? Ms. Harris, how are you, ma'am? Very good. Well, I want to present this proclamation on behalf of the Portsmouth City Council and the citizens of Portsmouth. Whereas Million Hearts 2027 is a national initiative co-led by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and whereas Million Hearts 2027 priorities are building healthy communities, optimizing care to improve blood pressure control and other initiatives, and focusing on health equity. And whereas, in recognition of Heart Health Month, Healthy Portsmouth Coalition, in partnership with the City of Portsmouth and local community advocate, aims to increase education, awareness, and action to lower the incident rates of hypertension in the City of Portsmouth. And whereas, the project aims to improve blood pressure management to decrease associated hospitalizations and deaths by identifying undiagnosed and uncontrolled hypertension and providing follow-up and linkages to medical care and medication. And whereas high blood pressure is the leading cause of heart attack and stroke in the United States, and Portsmouth ranks among the least healthy counties in Virginia, 113 out of 124, and has high rates of hypertension, heart attack, and stroke. And whereas over 300 people participated in the Healthy Portsmouth Million Hearts blood pressure screenings in 2023. And whereas Healthy Portsmouth, its community partners, and leading health agencies encourage participation and promotion of blood pressure screenings throughout the city to support early detection and treatment by knowing your risks and making healthy lifestyle choices. Now, therefore, I, Shannon E. Glover, Mayor of the City of Portsmouth, Virginia, do hereby proclaim February 2024 as Million Hearts Month in Portsmouth and urge our citizens to support and participate in this project. In witness whereof, and on behalf of the Portsmouth City Council, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Portsmouth to be affixed this 27th day of February 2024. Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor Glover, Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, members of council, on behalf of Healthy Portsmouth Coalition, we graciously thank you for this proclamation to acknowledge the importance of Heart Health Month. Hypertension rates in the city of Portsmouth are astronomical, and we are attempting to continue this year with Million Hearts blood pressure screenings throughout the city of Portsmouth. We have begun this effort. We began this effort last year, and we are continuing to proclaim the importance of high blood pressure management, high blood pressure education, and just to go throughout the city of Portsmouth proclaiming that this is a major health concern in the city of Portsmouth. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Ms. Harris, and thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. And Madam Clerk, could you please read the speaker's statement?
Ladies and gentlemen, City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice the timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than to any particular member of City Council, staff, or the audience, and should be limited to matters that only the Portsmouth City Council can influence. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have now come to the item on our agenda, City Manager's Report, item 24-52. And Madam Clerk, could you please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item?
An ordinance accepting an installation and resilience grant in the amount of $563,204 from the Office of Local Defense Community Cooperation and appropriating said funds in the FY 2024 Grants Fund for the purpose of studying flooding in corridors identified by the Portsmouth Chesapeake Joint Land Use Study.
Thank you, ma'am. Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Second.
Is there any additional discussion on this item? Seeing none, would you please vote electronically?
This item is adopted 6-0.
Item 24-53. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item?
An ordinance accepting with appreciation a donation in the amount of $2,000 from Ms. Betty W. Guard and appropriating said funds in the public safety category of the FY 2024 Capital Improvement Fund budget for use by the Department of Fire, Rescue, and Emergency Services for facility improvements.
Thank you, ma'am. Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Is there any additional discussion on this item? Seeing none, please vote electronically.
This item is adopted 6-0.
Thank you. Item 24-54. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance we are considering for this item?
An ordinance accepting Safe Streets for All grant funding in the amount of $315,000 from the Federal Highway Administration and appropriating said funds in the FY 2024 Grants Fund for the development of the Portsmouth Safe Streets and Roads for All Action Plan.
Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Is there any additional discussion on this item? Council members, please vote electronically.
This item is adopted 6-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our next item is item 24-55. Would you please read the ordinance we are considering pertaining to this item?
An ordinance increasing the Children's Service Act Fund budget in the total amount of $850,000 by one, accepting supplemental funding in the amount of $628,575 from the Virginia Office of Children's Services and appropriating said amount in the FY 2024 CSA fund budget, and two, reducing the non-departmental line item and increasing the transfer to other funds line item in the FY 2024 general fund budget by $221,425 and appropriating said amount in the FY 2024 CSA fund budget.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Move for adoption.
Is there any additional discussion? Please vote electronically.
This item is adopted 6-0.
Item 24-56. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance that we are considering pertaining to this item?
An ordinance accepting funding in the amount of $1,800 from the Virginia Department of Social Services and appropriating said funds in the FY 2024 Social Services Fund for the Family Partnership Meeting Incentive Program.
Thank you, ma'am. Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Adoption. Second.
Any additional discussion? Please vote electronically.
This item is adopted 6-0.
Item 24-57. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the ordinance we are considering for this item?
An ordinance accepting additional family preservation and support program funding in the amount of $5,000 from the Virginia Department of Social Services and appropriating said amount in the FY 2024 Social Services Fund budget to provide short-term support for families and children in crisis.
Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second.
Move for adoption.
Second.
Council members, is there any additional discussion? Would you please vote electronically?
This item is adopted 6-0.
Item 24-58. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the resolution we are considering pertaining to this item?
A resolution requesting the Virginia Department of Transportation to accept eligible city streets for municipal assistance payments pursuant to Section 33.2-319 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
Council members, we are in need of a motion and a second. We are in need of a second.
What else? Which one was that? What item was that?
That was item 24-58.
It didn't read like that for us, so.
The item read differently than what the ordinance read, but it was the same one.
Okay, all right. Second.
Is there any additional discussions? Seeing none, please vote electronically.
This item is adopted 6-0.
Thank you, ma'am. We have now moved to the item of new business, item 24-59, boards and commissions. Are there any boards and commissions to report, Vice Mayor?
Mayor, there are no boards and commissions to report tonight.
Did you want the floor, Councilman Hugo? Okay. Moving to the next item, item 24-60, items submitted by council members. Are there any items submitted by council members? Councilman Hugo, you have the floor, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. So a couple meetings ago, we had at a work session a discussion about school zone speed cameras. And I asked the police officer that was providing the presentation if we could add school zone times and signs on Peninsula Avenue for our West Parkview and Parkview neighbors who access London Boulevard and High Street in the middle of the school zone and don't have the benefit of the flashing lights. And I think we agreed that they would ask the company that provides the school zone cameras to add those signs. I drove by there on the way here tonight, and there are still no signs. And so, Madam City Manager, if we could follow through on that, I appreciate it.
Dr. Whitaker, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, these are two follow-up items, two for the city attorney. In the report back pertaining to the Wakefield Drive property owned by Ms. Jacqueline Williams and the tax surplus, has she been informed of what you told us in the report back that she needs to go through the circuit court to get the remaining surplus amount?
No, sir.
Is that something that your office can inform her of? Because she probably doesn't know that that's what her next step should be.
We can share with her the report back so that she's aware of the possibility of pursuing that with her attorney. Yes, sir.
Right, okay. And the second issue is the Sugar Hill Task Force.
we are still working on evaluating the needs that you've presented to us, and we'll get back to you.
Any
on that.
timeline on when?
I anticipate we could do it at the next council meeting. I know there's not one the first week of March, so the last week of March
Okay.
should be fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Okay.
And, thank you. And then this is for the city manager. In the report back pertaining to the disparity study, you mentioned that the city is currently working with outside institutions to determine the language that would be part of the disparity study pertaining to penalties and auditing. And so, for the first question, the outside institutions, which outside institutions are these?
So we're checking with
Okay,
We're working with HUD because HUD had the highest minority participation rate. And then other localities to see what they actually incorporated in their language, but HUD had the highest.
okay. Now, any communication with MGT, because they have worked with cities in regards to that?
Yes, I actually spoke to her on Thursday about it, and
Okay.
she gave me some information, and that's what kind of triggered me to that. in that
Ms.
direction.
Mitchell?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then the other, so in the interim, because you were saying July, anything being done in the interim to address that?
So there are a lot of things that we're putting in place as it relates to policy, procedures. This has to all be written up and then provided to city attorney for review before we can move forward. But everything, not everything, but all that we could potentially do in the system to identify when the contractor's set up, they are now being triggered to ask certain questions as far as the bid, because we can start now, but the true language that we're going to adopt, because now it's aspirational, but we have the ability to move forward on all of the other things, because it wasn't just a small piece, it was a lot.
And so how are we tying in EDA with this also?
So all of our policies as it relates to awards and bids and contracts will all be all that language will be incorporated
Okay, okay.
in every contract we have.
All right, thank you.
Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. My report request is regarding the status of, we're getting a lot of calls. I don't know if other council members are receiving calls, but we're receiving calls from citizens relative to the status of trash bins that are at their homes. Some are missing wheels, some are missing tops, some are inoperable. And the report that we're getting is that they're on back order. So just wanted to know if we could get a status report on the trash bins that we're getting several calls about.
Thank you for that, Vice Mayor. This is my first time hearing that they were on back order. I haven't heard that from the Director of General Services at all. So this may be misinformation again, but what we can do is have anybody who has an issue or concern, they can call Waste Management. Definitely send me an email, or you can send it to I'm sorry, may I ask, Mr. Stallings, what's the email again? Trash at VA.
Portsmouth, VA.
Trash at VA.
Portsmouth,
Trash at portsmouthva.gov. That is the quickest way to get your problem addressed. And again, we don't have a back order, so I hate that they're giving misinformation, or whoever that is. We have available cans, so we'll take care of it.
Okay, well, one of them was my husband who called, and they told him they were on back order, so shameless plug for me, but anyway, I got to tell this man that those cans are not on back order. And my second request, and it's not just my husband, there's some other people who have called as well. The status of the historical marker in Truxton community, it's been reported that the bricks have been laying on the ground. We just need to know whose authority or responsibility is it to repair that? Is it the city or is it the Civic League?
The city engineer and Parks and Rec are working on that. I think the church, the last I checked, the church actually has the marker. And so I can follow up with the city engineer and provide some information. He gave me a timeline to get that fixed because I know we had a timeline in mind. So so my hope is to have it done by then, because they would have already requested information to get that done, assessment of getting that completed.
Thank you. And I also, Mayor, if it's in order for me to give a Black history, or if there are council members who have other business relative to municipal government, I'll pause.
Ma'am, it is always in order for you.
Okay, all right, then I'll proceed.
You have the floor.
Thank you. All right, so my Black History Month presentation tonight is going to highlight the African-American fraternities and sororities. They're the oldest African-American Greek letter organizations that have continuously provided public service and scholarships to African-American students. And I'll start with Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, founded on the campus of Cornell University in 1906, December 4th, 1906. Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority was founded on the campus of Howard University on January 15th, 1908. Delta Sigma Theta sorority incorporated, which is my sorority, was founded on the campus of Howard University on January 13th, 1913. Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity was founded on the campus of University of Bloomington and January 5th, 1911. Omega Psi Phi fraternity, founded on November 17th, 1911 on the campus of Howard University. Phi Beta Sigma fraternity was founded on January 9th, 1914 at Howard University. Zeta Phi Beta sorority was founded on January 16th, 1920 at the Howard University campus. Sigma Gamma Rho sorority was founded on November 12th, 1922, and it was founded at Butler University in Indiana. And Iota Phi Theta fraternity, the youngest fraternity, was founded September 19, 1963 at Morgan State University. And highlighting with these organizations, I want to let you know, or you probably already know, but just to bring the highlight from the person from Portsmouth, Delegate Don Scott is our Speaker of the House. He's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and in the whole 405 plus years of the Virginia General Assembly, he is the first African American to be elected as the Speaker of the House. And Senator L. Louise Lucas, a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, in the whole 405-year history of the Virginia General Assembly, is the first African American woman to serve as President pro tempore and Chair of Finance and Appropriation. And with those two persons from Portsmouth, they are impacting what we will receive in funding and programs coming to Portsmouth. And that's my report.
Sir, you have the floor.
Yes, there were two more items, and this one for the city manager. Can you bring some clarity? I've received several calls in regards to some comments or a comment that was made regarding the physical, the school psychiatric person for school therapists. I believe that's the position, school therapist, and that program not being implemented. And I'm not sure if that was a school issue or a city issue. Can you bring some clarity to that?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. In 2023, I sat down with Dr. Nathan Woodard, who is the Director of Behavioral Health Services, and we sat down and we looked at the schools and the counselors in the school. And so we sat down and we said, how can we do better with having children who are being impacted and who have experienced trauma? And how could we work better in the schools and partner? So we sat down and we looked at our programs, and we worked with the schools and decided to determine that we were going to put a pilot program together at the schools to have our behavioral health services counselors work in the schools. So that program, we anticipated that program to start in 2024, but we started the paperwork and started getting that program on the ground in 2023. We had to get the state to buy in. We had to get the schools to buy in for that program because, again, this is a pilot program that has not been done before. So once the schools bought in, once the state bought in, we then had to consider who we were going to hire and what it would take to get that program going. So I think about a week ago, the positions actually closed. We actually had to create the job descriptions for those positions, get the funding for them. We got some funding from the state to allow us to be able to do this program. So the positions closed about a week ago, and I am here and very happy to say that that program will start sometime in the next couple of months once we have the people hired for that actual program. It was 3 positions. And what that entails is the people, if children are dealing with trauma or are having issues at the schools, then we will be notified, BHS, and those counselors will be dedicated and go out to the schools, do assessments, and even the parents, if they find that there are some issues at the home, they will be able to offer them assistance through the city that they may not know is available.
Okay, so that's that's purely under the auspices of the city, just working with the schools.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so there were no hirings already. When you said 3 positions are open, it was I thought brought to our attention that there was a hiring that had taken place, but had not actually gone into the schools.
So I'm not familiar with that
Okay.
information. I would have to reach out to Dr. Woodard. But I do know that 3 positions just closed because we just did the descriptions for them this year.
Okay, I just want to get some clarity because there's been some
Yeah,
concerns
I can reach
about
out to Dr. Woodard for more clarification, but I do know those 3 positions closed
Okay.
for that purpose.
And then the other, we had an excellent presentation from our city assessor during our public work session, and there was another issue that I would ask that council would allow a report back on, and that is, as you know, we have our open space agreement in which the Elizabeth Manor Golf Course currently has, and it reduces what would be a fair market value of almost $10 million of what the tax base would be. It reduces it down to something like $350,000. And so the question becomes, as we look at our budget and how we give abatements and who we give these significant tax breaks to, what is the return on investment for the city? That is, when we're given these types of breaks like this, what's the return on investment that we're getting? And so if the city assessor, I see Mr. Edwards is here still, if we could get that information as well, what has been the return on investment to the city for that open space agreement on 140 acres of land there? And Mayor, I don't know, we need a consensus on that or what, but that was part of the original request I made earlier about the abatement report back.
Thank you, Dr. Whitaker. Typically, in a situation where we're asking for something that's usually out of the norm, I think for the record, and because you're asking for things to be produced that may take some other man hours away, I think it's appropriate to ask for a consensus.
Okay.
So if you would like to call for a consensus, I can call for the consensus.
Yes.
So based on the recommendation that Dr. Whitaker has requested for us to get a report back from the assessor on what the return on investment
Right,
is
the return
for-
on investment when we apply open space agreement, if
Right.
that's even a criteria. Yeah.
When we apply open space agreement, as he indicated, if that's even a criteria, if you could provide some follow-up information and a report back on that to the council, I would appreciate that. But we do need a show of hands of who all are in agreement, so if you could show your hands. Okay.
Thank
We have
you.
a consensus. You're welcome, sir. I did want to mention, this past Saturday evening, there was an amazing event that took place in the city of Portsmouth called the Coldest Night of the Year. It is the annual fundraiser for the Portsmouth Volunteers for the Homeless. Dr. Darlene Sparks Washington and her team put on an amazing event, and so I just want to share with you some information about that event. This year, the goal was to have over 40 teams. I think we we met that goal with about 48 to 50 teams of walkers, over 300 individuals, city staff, citizens, business owners, laypersons, everyone in the city of Portsmouth showed up and raised funds to walk and support our most vulnerable citizens in the city of Portsmouth. Vice Mayor was there. I saw you out there, ma'am. And so we were walking in the cold together. In addition to that, the goal was to raise $50,000, right? $50,000 to help our homeless here in the city of Portsmouth. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to say that the team exceeded the goal of $50,000, and dollars are still coming in. Also, Councilman Hugo, I think I saw you out there walking, sir. I just want to stress to you as citizens and my colleagues on council, this is what is Portsmouth. This is what we do to help our citizens, our most vulnerable, and we show up and we support them 100%. And I want to give kudos and congratulations to Dr. Darlene Sparks Washington, her team for organizing this event, and each and every one of those individuals who took time out of their evening to participate in this very worthwhile project. You know, we were inconvenienced for about an hour or two, but think about those individuals who are homeless. They're inconvenienced for much longer. So wanted to recognize that event, and we'll continue to support that event. Once again, the coldest night of the year, we met our goals. And the last thing I'll say about that, so we were ranked with other cities in the United States, how well we did. And at last count I heard, we were number 6 in the nation in terms of how we performed in raising funds and participation. So I think that deserves a hand. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Portsmouth. Thank you. We'll now move on to our next item, is report on pending items. Ma'am, do you have any pending items? Now we've come to item 24-62, non-agenda speakers. And Madam Clerk, would you please read the speaker statement?
City Council rules require a limit of up to 5 minutes to speak. As you approach the speaker's podium, you will notice a timer. At the beginning of your 5 minutes, you will see a green light. 4 minutes into your remarks, you will notice a yellow light. At the end of 5 minutes, you will see a red light, hear a beep, and we ask that you conclude your comments at that time. While speakers have an opportunity to address council on matters of public concern, all comments should be made in a manner that respects the seriousness of the forum and should not be made in a belligerent, sarcastic, or demeaning fashion. All remarks shall be directed to the City Council as a body rather than any particular member of City Council, staff, or the audience, and should be limited to matters that only the Portsmouth City Council can influence. A speaker who fails to observe this basic rule of decorum will be deemed out of order and not allowed to conclude his or her comments.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Our first speaker this evening, Brenda Ridley Garris. Brenda Ridley Garris, are you with us, ma'am? If you would come forward, state your name and address, you will have 5 minutes.
Good evening.
Ma'am, could you do us a favor and please bring the microphone close to your mouth? Thank you.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you all so much for allowing us as a community to come before you. We have some pictures, and Michelle is going to take over now to speak to tell you.
Well, ma'am,
Yes.
hold on, ma'am.
Oh.
Our council rules state that you can't transfer your speaking minutes
that's
to
fine.
someone else.
That's fine, okay. On December 30th, we live in the Windmill Shores community, which townhouses. And our mailboxes, of course, are those outside standalone mailboxes. Well, somebody was celebrating a little early and came and demolished our section. Okay, this section is really prone. I don't know why this little section is on not even 100 feet, but is really prone to accidents. We've had several people up here that have had their cars totaled because of this. The post office tells us that they're not responsible. So we're going now to the Broad Street station, which is a long way from us, to pick up our mail. We're just trying, we've also been told that we can't get our own mailboxes because it's not zoned for that. So we need some kind of guidance of what we can do as a community and as a city. Is it okay if I bring you all the pictures?
Pictures to the Sergeant at Arms, and he will hold on to them and distribute them as needed.
And I also have a point of contact from the post office that works at the Broad Street. We were told that if we could purchase the mailboxes, then the post office would install it. We do not know how much it costs. We do know that we'll need 2 sets. Okay, this is, oh, sir, I'm sorry. I have another picture here. This is the picture that's going around, that was it at first happened. Okay. And also what was torn down was a sign said children playing. Yeah. And we took a petition. We also have a petition that's going around of the neighbors that's affected, because it's not everyone in our community. It's only probably about 32 of us that's been affected by this. So we just need some guidance from City Council. What can we do? And we were told that we should get together and purchase one, but this is a community where some people own and some people rent. And we don't know how much we would even have to get together to purchase.
Thank you, ma'am. Councilman Moody, sir, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, and I can see where going to the Broad Street station is really an imposition and not
Yes.
a practical solution. I would ask that our city attorney look into it and see what recourse the citizens have. First question is, the person that ran into these, did
Hit and run.
hit and run?
They left part of their car in the street. I don't know how they even managed to get away, but it was hit and run.
Was there a police report filed on it?
The police did come out because they had to come and pick up all the mail that had been scattered around.
Okay. But
And we don't know if they filed one or not.
Mayor, if the city attorney could let us know what can be done on behalf of the citizens, I think it'd be good.
Thank you, Councilman, and I believe the city attorney has already taken those notes in. There will be some type of follow-up response. I think we have your address, ma'am,
Yes, sir.
and we have your contact information,
You have my email address from when I registered.
and we have your phone number, ma'am? Yes,
yes.
we normally take down the contact information when
Okay.
you sign up to be a speaker, so
Okay.
someone will be responding,
Okay.
okay?
Mr. Mayor.
Dr. Whitaker, you have the floor,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you, Ms. Ridley, Garris, and also the community. I would also ask that our interim city manager be involved and that there be some cost assessment to replacing the mailbox and the sign, and that be taken into account and reported back to council as well.
Yes, sir, thank you very much. I think she's already written that down as well, sir.
All right.
Thank you all. Someone will be following up with you related to what the discussion was and some potential ways forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Eric Lopez. Mr. Lopez, sir, if you would come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the council. My name is Eric Lopez. I'm at 1201 Marsh Rand Circle in Portsmouth. I'm coming to you all today on, I work as a Churchland High School swim coach. I'm here representing all the swim coaches in Portsmouth. This season, we, as a team, were not able to, almost not have a season. The pool that we normally swim at, the High Street YMCA, closed down for renovations and put us out of a pool, which we weren't going to have a season. All the kids that we had, which is about 20 at Churchland, between boys and girls would have been displaced. And the only solution from the High Street YMCA was to send us to Camp Arrowhead in downtown Suffolk. So 45-minute drive during rush hour, to and from, just so the kids can swim. And the Taylor Bend YMCA was very accommodating, was able to fit us in on a very short schedule. And until the High Street YMCA reopened, we had to make it work, make it do. And the end result of all of this, with our hard work, the swim season just ended, and we sent, as a high school, 12 boys and girls to the state championship in Richmond, and 4 from Manor as well, so 16 total from the city of Portsmouth, which is the most we've ever sent in my tenure as head coach for the Churchland, but also for a big accomplishment for the city to send all these kids that do not swim year-round or have the access to facilities from the city of Portsmouth to be competitive at the state level. I have a testimonial for the Sergeant of Arms from one of our students talking about how swimming is important, if this could be distributed to members of council. The student with me today is Andrew Hawkins with his mother. Andrew is a freshman at Churchland High School, joined us very bright and early at Taylor Bend. His mom drove him all the way there. Said he's really excited, wants to give this a try, has no idea what swimming is, and he gave it his all. So attached here is Andrew's testimonial, as well as his times for a student that has never swam competitively a day in his life, taking on a new risk and going through there. And what our ask is when we're talking to you today is talking about what we can do to help bridge the gaps and inequalities with pool access in Portsmouth. Currently, on the western part of the south side, so Portsmouth, Suffolk, Chesapeake, access to pools is very limited. Most of them are either outdoor pools or they're paywalled by a YMCA or private entity. With a YMCA, an individual membership is like $65 a month, whereas a family membership can range up to hundreds of dollars a month, which makes it very hard for low-income families to have exposure and teaching basic life skills like swimming to make sure that we can lower the death rate of drowning incidents in Virginia. So what we're talking about and what we're here to talk about today is calling on the council to look into a capital project to fund an indoor aquatic center in Portsmouth, similar to one that was done in Hampton, which was estimated at $30 million, to build a competition, diving, and recreational pool, as well as an instructional center, which, of course, with inflation today, correlates to around $35 million in Portsmouth. And then, of course, in conjunction with a water safety program that will help teach elementary school students how to swim, which, according to the one that's done in Hampton, is about $140,000 a year to make sure, in conjunction with the school system, to make sure all the students can swim. So our ask here today is pretty much for our councils to look into it and see what we can do to help make sure that the swim team can survive, and the swim teams in Portsmouth can all survive, but also continuing competing at a very high level, since a lot of the students from Portsmouth Public Schools in the swim teams that do partake in swimming competition provide that diversity in the sport, which is not really seen much at the statewide level. So thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and the council.
Thank you, sir. And just hold on a second. Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Eric, for coming towards us, coming to present to us tonight. You speak in something that has been a concern and a desire of mine for quite some time, because I have seen aquatic centers in Hampton and Chesapeake and other localities, and would hope that it would be something that we could include in one of our capital improvement programs in the future, or perhaps at one of our newer schools, if we decide to go the route where we build a new school, just make that an opportunity and maybe incorporate it into some of the health classes, because I know that when I was in school, it's been many, many, many years ago at the high school level, but there were some requirements for health classes that we would offer, and it is statistics out there that African American are the students or children that drown are the most because they don't have that access, or they are afraid of the water and don't get opportunities to be surrounded in there. Last year, Mayor and I went to an open house at the Boys and Girls Club on Portsmouth Boulevard, and we saw a very active pool, and I don't know, in the interim, that could possibly be some place where you could use. It was, I don't know if it's an Olympic-sized pool, but it was a really nice and well-used and well-kept pool. So maybe that's something that the schools could look into, or our city could look into in the interim for those swim teams to ensure that they don't die off in the interim while we're trying to figure out what an aquatic center would look like in the city of Portsmouth. Thank you for presenting the profile on Mr. Hawkins, and thank you for being here, and thank you for your courage and your bravery to decide to get into swimming, and I'm hoping that you are enjoying it. Okay.
Thank you. And if I could add real quick, the Boys and Girls Club currently houses Manor High School, Western Branch, and Grassfield High School swim teams, which also provided a lot of difficulties because there was no extra availability there.
Okay.
So just wanted to add that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Moody, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I was going to suggest what the Vice Mayor suggested, the Boys and Girls Club as an alternate until we build a new school. And I think any new school that we build, we'd be remiss if we didn't include a aquatic center there as well. But also, there may be another option that could be converted to use, and that is the pool out at the Sportsplex. I know it's an outdoor pool now, but perhaps we could look into, on a temporary basis, making that an enclosed pool. I know there are a lot of structures nowadays that are, portable in nature, where perhaps you could use that. But I think as a waterfront community, it's kind of strange that we don't have a pool for our school kids, other than having to join the Y, which, like you said, a lot of people can't afford it.
And to add on to our struggles, currently the only high school that can house with gallery seating for swim competitions in our district is Maury High School. And I know Norfolk City Council is talking about rebuilding Maury High School and whether or not Maury needs to have a pool. And Maury High School is the only school between Portsmouth and Norfolk that services all the high schools for swimming competition. So pretty much what an aquatic center could bring would be an increase in revenue to the hotels by hosting swim competitions, and just bringing not only to the hotels, but also we have the casino as well, and the dining restaurants as well that we can boost. So the aquatic center would not only be beneficial, but it would also increase the other parts of the city as well.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Dr. Whitaker, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, I know there's been some discussion in the past regarding our recreation plan and upgrading our recreation facilities, and I would think that this would need, something of this magnitude would need to be part of our recreation plan and part of the capital improvement budget. So, interim city manager, as we put that together, I know we have not discussed the recreation plan in a while. Is that something that I think we should have a part of that to add on so that we can look realistically at how this can come to fruition? So during our budget season, we need to bring forward our recreation plan and look at that and hopefully discuss it in one of our public work sessions to see how feasible and workable this is.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, young man. Our next speaker is Ms. Marissa Adams.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
My name is Marissa Adams, and my address is on record. I'm a resident of this good old city of Portsmouth, Virginia. I stopped coming down here for a time. I even stopped watching for a time because I got tired of hearing a lot of talk with very little action. I'm a solution-oriented person, I'm a passionate person, I'm an intelligent person, and I analyze data for fun. I also analyze, oh, my bad. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought real fast. Let me get it back together. Oh, I choose my words wisely because I still run my nonprofit, and we just celebrated our 3rd year in business in the city of Portsmouth, serving not just girls, but young men off and on as well. A lot of the kids I serve as a community member with the youth servant organization live in or around Douglas Park, Brighton, Prentice Park, Camelot, Southside, Truxton, West Haven, Waterview, Craddock, as well as Churchland and Cavalier Manor. I visit most, if not all, of the 19 Portsmouth public schools often, even including New Direction Center at S.H. Clark. So when I tell you I be around, I be around. I happened to stumble across the live feed of the January 29th council meeting and had a Lisa Lucas Burke moment. I was mad, then you know the rest. All that did was affirm for me why I stopped coming down here, and that was because I lost faith in y'all. Because all I see is a lot of talk, a lot of bravado, a lot of this is me, look at me, this is what I know, this is who I know, this is what I can do, this is where I come from, and of course the bickering and quarrels. But I don't see a lot of action, and the reason why the city is not seeing any change is because you guys are still doing business as usual. Our kids and our youth are not a commodity to be contracted out to the latest gimmick and hustle, the latest nonprofit and youth program. Our kids and our citizens are not a good or service to be exchanged within the city's economy. Whew. I've lost my train of thought. Forgive me. You have people and organizations making thousands of city dollars by exploiting the trauma of our kids in our communities without any formal training and trauma-informed approaches to youth programming. If you follow the data and you follow the patterns, one thing about humans is humans are creatures of habit, and there's a pattern. Always know when there's money on the table because that's when there's a sudden spike in influx and pop-up youth programs and initiatives. But y'all continue to see the same results and continue to see the same problems because you're gatekeeping the information and dispersing the monies and opportunities to the same handful of people and organizations that continue to produce no real results. Results are measured in impact. Decisions are measured or should be measured and driven by data, both qualitative and quantitative. Right now, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of grandstanding and performing, but not a lot of true programming. One thing about me as a citizen is I wear many hats. So like I said before, I be around. I stand before you today, as I have done so many times before, encouraging you and imploring you to revisit and reevaluate the systems and structures that you have in place for contracts and grants with youth-serving, community-based organizations, and mental health service providers in the city of Portsmouth. The problem with greasing the squeaky wheel, is sometimes you're giving motor oil funds to folks with vegetable oil intentions and peanut oil results. The problem with greasing the squeaky wheel, especially in the absence of true trauma-informed care, is that sometimes you're using oil when you should be using water. I'm sure everyone on this diocese knows the definition of insanity, right? One of the biggest problems that is happening in the city is you guys are mistaken trauma-informed, data-driven, evidence-based, and with trauma bonding. Lived experience is relevant, but it ain't enough. Lived experience is not synonymous for trauma-informed care or approaches. The city needs to do better. Y'all need more trauma-informed, evidence-based programs with actual curriculums rather than gimmicks and grandstanding. There was a resource guide, my time, and I got a little bit more, so bear with me. There was a resource guide published by the Crisis Intervention Institute where the CDC's Office of Public Health Preparedness and Response Team, in collaboration with the National Institute for Trauma-Informed Care and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, developed a list of 6 guiding principles to a trauma-informed approach. The CDC was quoted as saying, adopting a trauma-informed approach is not accomplished by any single particular technique or checklist. It requires constant attention, caring, awareness, sensitivity, and possibly a cultural change at an organizational level. Michelle Obama was once quoted as saying, success isn't measured by how much money you make. It's about the difference you make in people's lives. People in Portsmouth are lining their pockets just as quick as the mortuary is lining and marking them graves.
You got 1 more minute, ma'am.
Okay, and that's about the only math that's mathing right now. As for me, my service to youth in Hampton Roads is not a game or a get-rich-quick scheme. For me, youth development is my life's purpose and passion. I've been doing this for 19 years. If I ever get silent publicly, don't ever get it mistaken. Because when it comes to matters involving youth development in any and all aspect, that's a hill I'm willing to die on. Feel free to Google me and my organization, Sisters in Service, Inc. We're purpose and impact driven, so our mission and services do not change based on funding. We've been in business for 3 years and all my paperwork is in line. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Elvira Johnson Williams. Ms. Williams, if you would come forward, state your name and address, ma'am. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening,
Good evening, ma'am.
Mayor and Council and the citizens of Portsmouth. First order of business, I have to say thank you to council members that did support our line dance fundraiser in honor of James Overton. I forgot to mention that the last time I was here, I was kind of excited about something else. So I want to say a real special thank you to the mayor, to Mark Hugo, Tillage, that came out and supported donations or whatever. We had a fantastic output, and we were able to complete an assignment that we had to give to the American Heart Association because of it. That's first. Secondly, I want to thank everyone for coming out for the coldest night of the year, because I am a board member, and it did my heart so good to see so many people from Portsmouth coming out, doing the thing, and more people need to get involved with that particular thing. That's kind of dear to my heart, and I love what I do when I do it. And then I want to jump on this cleanup. Since I'm that woman, this woman is standing before you to let you know I'm gonna be back until this cleanup is over with, because I'm nervous. As always, whenever something come up like this, I get real nervous. And I'm gonna be a constant reminder, because I'm gonna be looking for everybody to show up. If not at the Rivers Casino, I hope to see you at the City Park, because we are planning on cleaning up this city. I hope that every last one of council people show up long enough to get their gear, to go back to their neighborhood. Let me keep on saying that, because people keep calling me, asking. Come and get your coffee and your pastries, or go to City Park and get what they have for you out there, I don't know. Go back to your neighborhood, pick a block, clean it, put all your trash on the corner. Contact me if you have to, but just don't put it in your car. Please, don't put it in your car. Find a designated area. We have civic leagues that are now competing against each other as to who can get the most trash. It's a fun thing, so let's make it fun. You know, trash can be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So if anybody's interested that's on the south side that want to meet me at the casino on March the 23rd, and my sister's gonna kill me because that's her birthday, please meet me at the Rivers Casino at 8 a.m. so that we can find out where you're going, so that I can track you, and we can get back to the casino at 12 o'clock for a lunch that the casino is. And if you're planning on cleaning, please give me your name, because I need a head count so that I can get it back to the casino people that's in charge, so we will have enough food to go around for everyone. And on that note, I think I forgot something else, but you'll hear from me in 2 more weeks anyway, so I remember by then.
Yes.
And to just let everybody know, I am that woman. It's at 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on that date, March the 23rd, yes. And I am that woman that's always down here doing something for the city of Portsmouth, that I was born, raised, bred, married, had babies. Probably gonna die right here in this city of Portsmouth, because guess what, y'all? This is Portsmouth, and we can work together when we put our minds to it. Have a good evening.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is Barry Randall Jenkins. Sir, you come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council at large. Barry Randall, President of the Brighton Prentice Park Civic League. Here tonight, I came 2 weeks ago and I was going to address the matter then, but I thought that the city manager had handled it, and that's why I told you guys that I came in peace. The homeowner is back there. Wave your hand so they can see. I serve as his president, and he's been calling me for about a year about a matter of his next door neighbor. And if you all check your phones, and I didn't send it to some of y'all, I sent it to all of you, all 7 council members. The lady next door to him, she doesn't have indoor plumbing for her washing machine to drain. So she puts the plugs or the drain pipes out of the window, and all of that just goes onto his property, and there's now a ditch back there, cockroaches and some of everything. We went through Angel Jones with this situation. We went through Tanya Chapman with the situation, and now Miss Mimi Terry. I reached out to the inspector. I won't call his name out of privacy, but my issue was with him. And I couldn't reach him, and then I reached out to Miss Terry, and I said, hey, let me send you something. She was like, oh my God, we're gonna condemn that house, off that. The first thing she said when she saw the video that I sent her. She then found out that, the person does have plumbing, they just don't have plumbing for the washing machine, that she was gonna be on top of it. And she said, who's your inspector? And I told her, Mr. And she said, no, we don't have that person working for us. I said, well, he come to my civic league the first Monday of every year. We go from February through October. And she was like, no, I know my people. We don't have one of them. I said, okay, my bad. Here's his phone number. I gave her his phone number. I reached back out. I tried him, and I found he answers. I said, hey, I apologize if I've been calling you the wrong name. I said, he was like, what are you talking about? He said, you never addressed me but other than my name. I said, well, is your name Mr.? He said, yeah, that's my name. I said, well, the city manager said that she didn't have that name working for her. And he was like, oh, that's because they don't know me by my last name. They all know me by my first name. And I was like, oh, okay. So it must be the circus that we work for. Anyway, the gentleman has been complaining about this. I told Ms. Mimi Terry that I needed to speak to the deputy manager. She told me the night of council, she came over there where I was sitting. She said, I have a new gentleman. He's on top of it. I'll set up a meeting with you and him. I said, cool, fine. I didn't go later on while I was here at the council meeting. I posted, hey, I was going to go in tonight, but I don't have to because the city manager took care of it. A citizen, Ms. Williams, she chimed in and she said, oh, I said because the city manager took care of the problem. And she chimed in and said, oh, no, she didn't want your smoke. That's why she got involved. And I politely said, no, my issue wasn't with Ms. Terry. My issue was with the inspector. So then at 10:43 on that Thursday night, I get a text message from the city manager. Hey, I heard you posted on Facebook that you was going to give me some smoke. Oh, really? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't say anything like that about you. Somebody else said that. I said, my issue wasn't even with you, it was with the inspector. That's why I thought you were going to let me meet with the deputy manager concerning the issue. She didn't respond. I called her the next morning. I sent her a text message. I called her. Eventually, I got the, realization that she was, obviously had me blocked because it was going straight to voicemail. And I'm saying to myself, we have an interim city manager acting like that over a Facebook post that I said nothing about. And this gentleman who's a taxpayer is going through what he's going through. So we've been 2 weeks now, no meeting with the deputy manager. Don't worry, sir. We'll get to meet with you when the new city manager's sitting right there. Second of all, Dr. Whitaker, to your question that you asked, because they're not being honest with you, Reverend Lucretia Mason Underdo, she left Portsmouth Public School to work for Portsmouth Behavior Health, to work in that program.
You are out of order.
And she resigned because they was not allowing her to go into the school.
Sir?
Last week, the fire department had to...
Sergeant at Arms, could you please ask him to have his seat? Please have your seat, sir.
The fire marshal let everybody out the
He's
building
out of order.
because they had a gas leak and there's not one carbon monoxide detector in the building. This is the problem that we have when we have individuals running the city like this. But you have about 2 or 3 weeks left.
Please have your seat, sir. Please, sir, please, sir, please. Sir, you are out of order, sir. Sir, you are out of order. We have a decorum in our council chamber, sir, which you have violated. Sir, you're out of order. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Mr. Clyde Toller. Our next speaker is Mr. Clyde Toller. Sir, if you have one more outburst in this chamber, I will have you removed. Please ask him to leave the chamber, please.
Wait a minute,
You're
point-
disrupting the meeting, sir.
Point of order. Point of
But
order,
no,
Mr.
there's no point of order. Hold on, sir.
Point of
Hold
order.
on. As the chair, he is being disruptive and he is violating the rules.
Right.
We have strict rules, and when the rule is violated, it doesn't pertain to citizens when they come before council. I have asked him not to do that, and he has taken a seat, and he has continued to talk from his seat. That is against our rules, and he refuses to not be disruptive, so he has to leave the chamber, sir.
Yeah, I was just going to say, point of order, Mayor. I think that, those items should be left to council to decide if we're going to remove persons from the chambers. That's all I want to say.
I think our rules stated that we decided on council members.
Okay,
But when individuals,
let's be consistent with that.
sir, the rules are consistent,
No, I
sir.
know the rules are. I'm
Yes.
talking about your actions.
Okay, sir, thank you. Thank you for that response. It is appreciated. Our next speaker is Mr. Clyde Toller. I apologize, Mr. Toller. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and my sisters. It's good to be here. My name is Clyde Toller, Portsmouth Proud. I live 1029 Blair Street, Portsmouth, Virginia, Park View. I got it together, didn't I? But anyway, it's good to be here. Ms. Lucaberg, I would like for you to stand to let people know that you are a senator of the state of Virginia. Me and you and Miss Miller, when we used to go to Richmond, I thought a lot of times we were going to get locked up. Remember those big old gavel, they were going to hit on you? A lot of people don't know who you are. Will you still please stand and so people can see you on TV and stop calling me who you are? Yes, please. Thank you. I can't hear you too good. You know, my hearing aid is out, but you can speak.
Thank you for recognizing me today, Mr. Tyler. I am Lisa Lucasberg, and Senator L. Louise Lucas is my mother.
Thank you. Council member, Dr. Whitaker, Mr. Moody. I think Mr. Moody is the granddad of the council, but Mr. Whitaker, Council Whitaker is next. But it's good to see you all. It's good to be here. Wasn't that very nice of those kids today?
Amazing.
Look, all kids ain't carrying guns and being bad and mean, see? It's a lot of good kids in this city. And we should be proud of them. I know I am. But anyway, this is the last week of Black History Month. Okay? This is good. I remember when you couldn't go. And now it's beautiful to see we're all together and we're here. And I would like to give credit to Miss Marlene. I think everybody know Miss Marlene. I think she was the first black lady that sat on council. No, she was second. So, but anyway, this is the last month. But you must remember, your makeup was black. You know, go running off, thank God, go punish everybody else. And you gonna be saved because you gonna burn just like everybody else if you're wrong. But anyway, I'm gonna leave you with something. When you go home tonight, I want you to go to your Bible and I want you to take Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 21. And I want you to read it because a lot of people need to read that. You'll know who you are. I'm almost 100, like in 2 years. I just found out who God was. I've been going to church every Sunday. PYFC, my parents made me go. I want to know why you don't go sometime. My sister said, you better shut up before she hear you. But anyway, it's nice to know, nice to be here. And I thank each and every one of you on this council because you are here to help us who don't know what's going on in the city. And I went around through Parkview. It's beautiful. You're building a lot of homes there on these empty lots. But when are you going to do something with this on Blair Street, right across the street from me? Possum, coon, fox. And you know, you tell me you can't kill him, you can't catch him. But I tell you what, the next time he in my yard and I can't get out of my car, I take care of him. You ain't got to worry about him. But anyway, I think you need to come by there. I've been there since 1980. I built the house there new. And that lot is overgrown and everything. Every other lot around there is being taken care of. But why can't you do something with that lot? They blow grass all in the street and everything. And the police tell me they can't give them no ticket to do nothing. I seen on TV where you said don't blow grass. And please do something about these people throwing their garbage out in front of you, driving up and down the street. Hey, we got to tighten up, make these fines. Stop letting the jury take pity on them. You know, be nice, but don't do it no more. No, $500,000 fine or 90 days in jail, and it'll stop. Everybody have a blessed night. But don't forget to read what I asked you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Major.
I'll be out your way in a minute, man.
Take your time, sir. Please. Thank you, sir. Our next speaker is Ms. Sheila Joseph. Ms. Joseph, you come forward, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
I'm gonna change my tone on other things I have spoke on earlier over the years for at least about 34 years living at 139 Grand Street. I see this year a few things on my agenda. Since I can't get on y'all agenda, I started my own agenda. And one of them, I can say that I'm interested in doing things in the city that we used to do through the schools and in the community when we had the NEAT program. It was 5 parents, other than myself, make 6. We was at Hunt Mount Middle School. We started uniform, but only a few schools did it. And the reason why we came up with the idea with reducing kids to not being able to pick on other kids. I feel that elementary through the high school, because there's a lot of things going on in the school system that a lot of people don't know. I learned a lot when my children was children. And now I hear a lot of horrible things. Kids are having sex and doing some everything in the school system. I came up with what I provided to the chief about reducing crime in Portsmouth by networking with other people in the community that's not working, such as myself and anybody else that would like to address going into school and volunteer their time and monitor the bathroom, the hallway, and in the classroom. I know you have teachers in there, but as parents or an adult, but I'm going to suggest this. In order for me and my son to participate with other people, we want to do a background check when it comes down to who's going to be working with our youth. Because at the bus stop, I suggest, and I gave it to the chief in October last year, was to, in the mornings, to monitor the bus stops and have someone to monitor the school bus with the children, because I notice a lot of kids, they don't have parents. Maybe they're going to work or whatever. The other part was children from age 4. I had someone to hear about me over the radio when I had Together We Can Make a Difference talk show. And he came from Florida. And he bought games that him and his wife designed. And their family came and bought these games to me, and it's from 4 to 12 years old, to be implemented in the school. And I wanted to implement it again. I gave it to 19 schools, but I don't know, they got some more new games now. But it was dealing with educating the children through game board that's dealing with drugs, alcohol, and guns and different things. It was different subjects, though, with this game, and I would like someone to volunteer to help to utilize with the parents' permission, because it's going to discuss different things that some parents may not want to discuss. And I want the parents that check out the game themselves. The other part I want to talk about is to get the community more involved, the churches and different ones, to interact with each other and see what they can do in their own community. And we want to organize different colors for their community so they can be recognized if they want to. And we want to do a campaign awareness about a lot of things through TV. And anybody want to check it out, it'll be a campaign that we are trying to work out, public awareness of anything that needs to be addressed, because I don't like using social media, so I wanted to use my website, which is www.twcmad online. I tell people to educate yourself by going there, because a lot of things I talk about, I did my homework, and all you have to do is get with me if you want to volunteer and make a difference. We do have other people from other areas going to be working for us, Northern Virginia and different other areas, but we want to see it in our city. Can I say one more thing?
Finish your thought, please.
Okay. We also want to address the environmental justice. I didn't put that on there, but I'm going to plug it in. Senator Lucas and Don Scott, Delegate Don Scott, I went up January the 17th and talked to them, but I didn't get to speak to them, so I left packages of information on behalf of Together We Can Make a Difference and Interfaith to address different issues, not just in Portsmouth, but throughout the United States, about the environment that we have been exposed to. This package have a lot of things that we left with them, and it was facts, and it has the
Ms. Joseph,
different.
please wrap it up.
Okay, they has the different bills, numbers, and everything that we are addressing. So they have voted on some of it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, ma'am. Our next speaker is Mr. Merle Rutledge. Mr. Rutledge, you would come forward, sir, state your name and address. You will have 5 minutes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Merle Rutledge. I live at 2024 Conservative Way, Republican, Virginia. Let me cut to the chase. In light of this being Black History Month, I guess we could talk about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in this room for a few seconds. And it's a famous quote. It's not about the color of your skin, it's the content of your character. And lately, I have been seeing all over the place, regardless of whether it's here in the city of Portsmouth, in the state of Virginia, or all across this country. Everybody's going through the same problems. The surge in crime, the problems with city government getting along, people wondering when where they're going to get their next meal, where they're going to sleep. And all during this time period, I found it odd that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s words would come back again on a different quote. And it started because of a discussion with the NAACP with a fellow colleague named A.C. Cardoza, where the statement, ain't all kin folks, not skin folks, in a very derogatory and racially charged way. Now, this is a black colleague on another black colleague. And I thought it was deplorable and disgusting. And then I said to myself, sometimes an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And wrong is still wrong just because the majority may share in it. A lot of time frames, we use our race and our gender to excuse the fact of when we could do something instead of nothing. It takes a pause for a second about what I'm about to say to y'all. Just because I look like some of you, I share in the same skin tone, doesn't mean my heart and soul is the same as yours. See, most of the problems came in the city because we thought money could fix problems. We said, hey, put a couple of dollars here, put a couple of dollars there, crime should go down. People should be happy to get a little relief on personal property taxes. We're a government that continues to milk them dry. And the same government can't get along, regardless of skin tone, and whether you're kin folks or whether you're content, the character, but guess what? Y'all can't seem to get along just because of race. People are dying on my streets, on our community streets. And some will still think about ways to get money from people. The thing is, how can you get money from the dead? You see, when you're buried and you go through decomposition, you ain't so much worried about your race or your skin tone. Only a memory. So how are you going to live out your memories? You got one life to live. You can say, hey, my race had a disadvantage or a handicap, or I couldn't do this, or my excuse is I'm being targeted because of that. Well, the bullseye is on all of our backs. This is what this world's coming to. People don't believe tomorrow's going to be better, but y'all can definitely do something about today, no matter who you are. So if you care about the people in this city, they should be your family regardless of race, regardless of background or creed. And we should never say to each other derogatory or racially charged statements, no matter what the group or association is, because y'all praised them today. I stand for injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. Doesn't matter your race or creed or background. I love you anyway. Because when I pick up the phone, whether it's to you or to them, we all sharing the same problem. Y'all can't get along, how can we all get along? Dr. King's dream was for us to be locked arm in arm, black, white, Puerto Rican, or Hispanic, not make excuses for why we can't. Y'all gave y'all lives just like your ancestors gave theirs, for us to all get along and be all treated equal. And I just feel like at this time frame, it's equal for y'all politicians, it's unequal for us.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Whitaker, sir, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I know you dismissed Bishop Randall Jenkins. However, the issue that was raised can't be dismissed, and I think council should get a report back on that environmental condition that was spoken of in the Prentice Park community.
Mr. Woods, we've addressed it, so if you want him to speak on it now, he can.
You can.
Mr. Woods, would you like to come forward, sir?
Good evening, council. On that situation that Mr. Randall just spoke about, the code department has that under action. He has about 10 days left before we will be carrying this person to court. If any other information that I need to reveal, then we have to fill out a FOIA. But just to let you know, that situation is under action, and we have did our due diligence to do whatever we need to do at that property.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Woods.
Yep.
Thank you, Dr. Whitaker, for asking the question. It's appreciated. That concludes our meeting for tonight. If there are not any other questions or concerns for the good of the order, this meeting is adjourned. Drive safe.